is present today. Today is, what is March 22nd? It is 10 o'clock a.m. This is a meeting to address the audit, PB audit matters. So with that being said, we will start the meeting. Melly?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Melissa Pinales, Audit Manager. That's our staff member. Okay, so we're ready to start with agenda number 1, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So on agenda item number 1, presentation and discussion of the audit committee charter. Minor changes were made to the audit committee charter, very minimal changes. We are taking it to the full board during the April meeting, so I don't know if you have any questions or anything that I can address or answer.
Any questions on the charter? No, we're okay with that one, Melly.
Okay,
Continue.
thank you, sir. Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 2, presentation and discussion of audit reports with no findings. So these are the reports that we completed within the past 3 months. In our opinion, key internal controls are satisfactory. We completed the accounting petty cash count, the energy control center operations, unannounced cash count 3 and 4. So I want to commend these departments for having no findings. Any questions?
So Melly, you're telling us that these departments, these divisions have been audited, no findings, everything is satisfactory?
Yes, sir, that's correct, sir.
Okay. And we do commend those departments and the leadership of those departments for
Yes, sir.
for the good work.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to number 3.
Okay, agenda item number 3. So this is presentation and discussion of audit reports with findings. So here, in our opinion, key internal controls are satisfactory and or need improvement. So these are the areas that we looked at that had findings. We will come back in 6 months and report to the full board a status report on what action has been taken on these findings.
Any questions from the board members about the findings?
Just on the ones that fall under need improvement, are there any, Melanie, that rise to the level where you think it should be discussed at this time?
So the way it's categorized is if you have 3 findings or less, you're considered satisfactory based on our policy. And anything over 4 or above is considered needs improvement.
Okay.
All of these findings have a recommendation. We've cleared with management at all levels, manager, director, executive, and they've all agreed. They've all put a timeline on by when they will be resolved. So at this point, I think that we just need to wait for the follow-up to come back and report to the full board or to the audit committee.
Okay, so none of those I mean, obviously, we've got electric engineering and power production on there, as well as SRWA, but none of those you would consider a critical finding?
No, sir, not at this point. That's correct. The SRWA, we did report to the SRWA board. We brought it to their attention last month and they had concerns and like I've explained to them, we'll come back in 6 months, provide a follow-up and report the status on these actions.
Ms. Sines, any comments or anything on this?
Yes. Yes, so I have been advised by the chair that I need to do a follow-up in 30 to 45 days, so I will be doing that. So I will be reporting to the audit committee on the status.
And just for full disclosure, I did meet with Melly and with Ms. Gilbert. I believe there are some serious concerns that need to be addressed. I'm concerned with the lack of compliance on timeliness issues. I don't think there are not any issues that can be corrected. I think Ms. Gilbert needs to, and we had a good conversation about this. She needs to really focus on some of these matters and bring them into compliance. And I do think, well, we need to meet again and let's look at our calendars in 30 to 45 days. Now, I would also like to find out whether or not we can, we don't have legal here today, do we? Whether or not we can discuss some of these matters in executive. So I'd like to learn more about that.
Yep. Maybe there's something on personnel related issues that is perfectly acceptable to decide in executive. And just like we've done, we have the chair of the finance committee that will go into closed session. We'll do the same thing where we'll decide some of the personnel issues there.
Melanie, let's look at 30 days.
Yes, sir.
30 days. Then we'll check with the calendar for everybody, and so we can address some of those issues. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's our next section, Melanie?
Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 4, presentation and discussion of follow-up audits, all recommendations implemented. So these are the 2 areas that we came back within 6 months from the final report and did a follow-up, and all actions were completed or taken care of. So this is for the training and organizational development and for the water and wastewater plant maintenance. So kudos to those 2 departments.
Okay, again, thank you. And it's always good to have some positive reports and positive reviews. Okay, moving on to number 5.
Yes, sir. So on agenda item number 5, presentation and discussion of follow-up audits, recommendations in progress. So these are the areas that we came back and did a follow-up also within 6 months from the final report, but they still have some items in progress. So on the first one, we have the call center. They had one finding, which was the performance measures. We did speak to Eddie Campirano, the manager, yesterday, and I believe they're about to complete it. Eddie, if you can. Okay, so that one has been completed.
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay, moving on to the communications and public relations. They've implemented the contracts invoice approval process. They still have in progress the procedures, handbook, and work instructions. They also have the sponsorship program and the inventory control storage units logs still in progress. I don't know if Ryan or Estrella want to give an update on your pending items.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Ryan, give us an example of a sponsorship activity.
It could be something like Sombrero Festival,
Okay.
Sponsoring them, it could be sponsoring scholarship,
Okay.
And that would be more on the PR, we focus more on the civic side, whereas the GM office has some funds to be able to sponsor more industrial.
Okay.
Say like a APBA conference or APBA.
Okay, and I think we had discussed this previously at a previous meeting, and I'm glad that y'all are taking a look at this. Sandra, anything else on this one?
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, so moving on to the cross-connection control. So 3 months ago, we did bring this to the audit committee, and a second follow-up was requested on the 2 items. They're still in progress on the enforcement requirements and the customer service inspections. We do have Vicente, who's going to give us a brief update of where they're at. Yes. Sure. I'll help you with that, yes.
Good morning. My name is Vicente Guerrero. I'm the Laboratory and Cross Connection Control Manager. Last time that we met, we discussed that there was 828 pending backflow devices from commercial and industrial customers that were pending. We have since received 181 test and maintenance reports. Our staff have went out to the field did inspections, and we did inactivate 106 because they were either broken or the business was no longer there. They're out of service. In addition, we met with key accounts, and key accounts scheduled out meeting with two of our customers that had the majority of the backflow tests that were not that were pending. One customer has 184 valves. We did get a plan of action from them and a timeline when they plan to either replace the valve or test the valve so they can come back into compliance. The other customer, we're still pending an actual action plan from them. And they have approximately 40 valves on their site that they're still pending. The main, for that particular customer, the main valve feeding the plant, we do have protection. It's all internal, their processes, backflow device that they haven't tested, but the valve that protects our drinking water supply, it is up to date for that particular customer. I would like to go down and discuss some of the things that we've done. We did have a meeting with the City of Brownsville Enforcement to discuss assistance with either going out there and helping us get our customers back into compliance. We received a response from them. We met with them twice. Currently, they're not able to assist us due to limitations on staff, so we have to look for another method of enforcement. There's two levels, two authorizations. We have the ordinance, which is city, and the city ordinance says if we have any issues with enforcement, we would essentially request assistance from the city. The other authority that we have is the water service agreement. There is a little clause. Anytime a customer signs wants a water services, they have to sign this water service agreement. It's a contract between PUB and the customers that basically stipulate they grant us authority to do a customer service inspections. PUB is obligated to, based on the report, PUB is obligated to get with the customers to let them know what needs to get done and how to fix the issue. There is a section there that discusses enforcement. The two options in enforcement, either terminate services or PUB will either install, test, maintain the valve for them. What we want to do, or what we plan to do, is get with legal services because those valves are not PUB owned. So we want to go ahead and get clearance from legal to see if we can go ahead and work on them or to try to limit liability and maybe work with legal to get some sort of enforcement response plan. We do have a flow chart, but the flow chart indicates that we're going to go with the city. The city basically says right now we can't assist you due to limitations of staff. So we'll be getting back with you. The other item that I was asked was regarding grants. If there are any grants out there that could help pay for the customers' testing of these valves. They get with finance. There wasn't any grants at this time. Another item that was asked of me is to consider, I guess, what it would cost to hire 2 additional staff. Right now, staffing levels in my department, we just finished losing 1 coordinator. We have 2 technicians. So when this program was developed or was in the process, we had requested 3 staff members. The goal was to have 2 staff members work on backflow testing, 2 on customer service. But at the time back in 2018, 2019, the decision was made to just do what we have. So what we do is we either focus on one area, we flip-flop depending on what needs to get done. So we see if we can request a couple additional technicians that are licensed to help us, bring the program to improve the program. Every program, there's opportunity for improvement, and this is one item where we think will help us. Before COVID, we used to go to this customer to visit with them, and that was very effective when they were non-compliant. We would educate the customer, and they would essentially, within time, they would test the valve and submit the test and maintenance report. And we want to get back to that level, but we need additional resources to human resource to make that happen. Develop a continual improvement. Once again, we request or ask if we can consider additional staffing needs in our area in order to help us with the training and education of customers when they are non-compliant. So that's where we're at in a nutshell. As far as my update, do you all have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So there's findings.
Yeah.
Right?
They're working on it, but out of the 800, you said we still have 500 customers left.
Yes.
And it seems one of them has 184
184.
backflow systems.
Yeah, we did
That's a large number not to have them inspected. And I think my question is, how long are these customers not complying with these rules? And how do we break it down? And I think I had asked between residential and commercial, because the commercial has no excuse not to have this.
Yeah.
Right, the residential are usually irrigation, but the commercial side, they should be in compliance. So I think they need to be broken down, and I think we need to address it a lot faster than what we're doing right now. I think a follow-up needs to be done. And I think we need to find out how long has it been since they haven't complied, and how quickly can they comply? I know you're short-staffed, but that's something that we need to address probably with administration to look at it. But how long has the accounts been not compliant? Why have we waited so long? And like I said last time, it makes it much more difficult when we don't stay on top of this for the person and then they're going to get angry about it because they haven't complied. And now that you're bringing it up, it becomes a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know out of this 500, how many are still residential and how many are commercial?
These are all commercial and industrial.
All the 500 accounts?
Yeah. Compliance rate for residential backflows, we got 2,164 valves. Our compliance rate with residential is 83%.
That's good.
Commercial industrial backflows, we got 3,508 valves. Our compliance rate there is 66%. And it's due to the fact that we have customers with large amount of valves that still, or a large number of valves that still need to be,
All right.
I guess, tested.
But how long has this particular customer that has 184,
We meet with them,
how long has he been not compliant, or this customer?
we've had, I guess, repetitive issues as far as them getting it tested.
So how long?
They submit, I guess, since I've been here, 4 or 5 years. 5 years, every year, it seems like we ask the same customer to, help us out, test the valves. And we do meet with key accounts. We have meetings. They organize the meetings and we get with them.
We understand
Mhm.
the challenge from your department in
Yeah.
trying to address this matter. We've made a little bit of progress, but not a whole lot.
Mhm.
And in all fairness about what the signs is talking about, when I read this report, there's a lot of issues in totality that lack compliance, that lack addressing these issues a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years
Mhm.
ago. Now, in all fairness, and I'll be very candid here, Ms. Gilbert's been the CEO now for a short period of time. I believe she needs some time to address not only this issue, but many issues. And that's going to take a little bit of time. I'm reading this report, and some of the responses from management, COVID, turnover, vacancies, staffing. It's a complicated matter. Now, COVID, I think, is gone. Now, management and senior management, they need to understand how they're going to fill vacancies, how they're going to help you. We can give them advice and we can ask them to look into this in a serious manner. But they have to look at their budgets and find out what they can help you with. Now, I'm glad there's a lot of people here, I guess PUB officials, PUB employees. This internal auditing is a really important segment. We have a lot of important divisions here that as a board, we have oversight over the CEO. We work closely with internal auditing, fiscal management policy. I don't want to use the word negligent, but I think there's been a lot of lack of paying attention to these audit reports and compliance and corrective action. I can understand you may need 2 or 3, 4 staff employees for your staff. And I hope Ms. Gilbert and Mike, they take a look at this to try to help you. One customer with how many? 184. I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know why that person hasn't, haven't addressed it. And I understand there's ordinances and policies and enforcement abilities, but that's a lot of accounts.
Yeah. You want me to name the customer?
We don't want to do that.
Okay.
What I ask you.
The reason that customer is not able to really test them is because of, they can either wait for December or during the summer months to test, because they need water all the time. So in order to test these valves, you need to shut off the water.
So, Mr. Chair, on some of these customers, because they're confidential, this is some of the items that we can go into a closed session to discuss the individual customers, and at that point, we can discuss with the leaders of those individual entities that are responsible for what's with these issues.
I wanted to ask you
Yes, sir.
to continue to work hard, focus on your job, work with administration. There's a chain of command that needs to be followed, but we will be seriously addressing this. Well, I shouldn't have to use the word serious. We should be addressing this in a continuous manner. I noticed you have here, what does this mean, January 1st, 2024? Is that a target date to have everyone in compliance?
That's tentative. Yes, that milestone can be reduced.
Melly, let's take a look at this with our next meeting that we're going to have. I'll take another look at this and then we'll address staffing for this department. But thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
I do.
I'm sorry,
I guess
Yes, sir.
my concern here is, obviously we have backflow preventers. We have the requirement in there for a reason, right?
That's correct.
Backflow.
Mhm.
So my question would be, would an issue like this, and again, we're not naming customers, but anybody can go into our CAFR and look at our primary water customers, and I assume some of those may be the ones that have some of these issues. With an issue like this, do we run the risk of contaminating our water supply, which is the purpose of a backflow preventer, correct? Not to
That
make
is
sure that we don't
correct.
have any backflow into our water lines.
Yeah.
Is there a risk by having a customer such as this one, or any of them, especially industrial customers, by having them out of compliance, do we run the risk of having a contaminated water supply?
Okay. For high hazard facilities, we require a reduced pressure zone. It's got 2 check valves, and in case there's back siphon or back pressure and the valve fails, it's got a relief valve where that water tends to drop out, that opens up, and the water doesn't get back into our system. So
But in this case, with this customer, for example, that has 100 and some valves.
yes,
Is there a risk of contaminating water supply by continuing to be out of compliance?
their main valve that feed the plant It is tested. We do have a tested main report that does protect our drinking water supply.
Okay.
From type of event. Now, if anything were to happen on their end, on their own private system, possibility maybe that water will remain in their facility. So that's,
Yeah, but that's an issue too.
Yeah, it's an issue for their organization.
Public health.
yeah,
But, and I'm glad Mr. Sampaio mentioned this cross connection audit. It's really about contamination.
Yes.
Potential contamination. So let's address this, and let's address it really hard. Melanie, we're going to come back on this one along with the other one. And I apologize for Mr. Sampaio and Ms. Signs. Any other
No,
comments on this?
I just wanted to make sure we weren't in any way putting our water supply.
Yes, that's a serious element of this whole discussion. Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, so
Nothing, Melanie.
moving on to the digital information platforms audit. On this one, the procedure and the program is also still in progress. Estrella, I don't know if you have an estimated completion date on this, or Miguel?
Next couple of weeks? Okay. Anything else for Ms. Signs or Mr. Sampaio?
Okay.
All right, Melanie?
So the next one is the electric transmission and distribution, and out of the four, two have been implemented and two are still in progress. Actually, the job description, I spoke to the director yesterday, and that one has been completed. On the inaccurate invoice approvals, that one they're still working on. They're still working with the vendor. Does that any other updates on that? Or Elon?
All right, I'd like to just make one comment about this whole scenario. A lot of smart people out here, professionals. I don't know how we get so out of compliance with these issues. I think there needs to be a lot more focus and less catching up. But we appreciate that y'all are addressing these matters, but I hope we don't come back in 60 days and we're in the same spot. And I think then we need to speak to, we have to have a hard conversation with the CEO and management. But thank you for that. What else do we have, Melanie?
Yeah, so on the electric T&D construction and maintenance, on this one, they initially had 7 findings. 3 of them were implemented and 4 are still in progress. Actually, the state inspection and license, that one was also completed. I spoke to Cesar yesterday, and the other 3 are in progress. So I don't know if they're still working on them. I don't know if you have any questions on any specific. No?
Sandra, anything on that? Mr. Sampaio? Okay, that's on the electric T&D on the next item.
Okay, and then the last one for the general manager. All 3 are still in progress. Ms. Gilbert is working on them. I don't know if you will have an update on any of them, Ms. Gilbert.
Some of the ones that are here happen to be related to the legal services. And so as the board is aware, we have an in-house counsel that we are advertising for. We're also advertising for board special counsel and also board counsel. And so that is part of the process that's in process right now on there. And to address that, it also addresses some of the various things. The other one is the records retention process, and that's the staff has been working on sending some of the various different boxes out for storages. We're cleaning out various documentation that was from the previous CEO and storing them into the proper there. So all of them are in process.
Ms. Gilbert, we do have no, we have a contract administrator that
Yes.
reviews contracts, files them, updated periodically.
It's a contract coordinator. That's her title.
Expired contracts, okay. All right, so. Well, no, this is a lot of work on your behalf, and I want to remind the audience that Melly works in answers to the board. This is a very, very serious component. I think we all need to do our due diligence a little bit better, be a little bit more focused. I would like to have a meeting maybe at the third quarter, the second quarter that doesn't look like this. There's just too much red ink. I'd like to see that professionals in these departments are in compliance. They've done their work and they have not, just pushed it off into the next week, the following week. But anything else, Mr. Sabal?
No, this is my first meeting, so I've got a lot of catching up to do, and these are probably things that have been discussed in the past. But for me, I think what I'd want to see a focus on is anything that has a potential impact first on the safety of our community, which is why I asked about the backflow preventers, and then second, on the reliability of our utilities for our community, right? And so on those items that were identified on slide 7, clearly electric, we're in the water and power business, right? So anything that has to do with the electric engineering, when it's just put up on a slide like that and it says 23, I know you guys have the details, but anything that could potentially put our customers or our product at risk, I would hope that we can pay special attention to that, and that can be brought to the board so that we can take any action necessary to support Marilyn, you and your team, so that none of that ends up impacting our customers. Some of these items, I would assume, are administrative items and things that can be taken care of. And I don't mean to minimize those in any way, but if anything does come up that, again, is putting the safety of our community at risk or putting the reliability of our system at risk, then I would hope that can get brought to our attention with a bit more detail, so that we can address it with the full board and make sure that you all have, the team has all of the resources necessary to prevent anything to get to that, crisis level. So that's
All right, thank you for those comments. Ms. Science, anything? I just like to remind the audience that, of course, safety is paramount. But I look at things such as a budget, such as finance, such as waste, when I read these reports. And I think we have, all of us have an obligation to minimize waste, to be more efficient, to take the budget serious. You guys have tough jobs. I see that out in the field and internally in these offices. But y'all have a responsibility to make corrections and be a little more efficient, minimize waste. But we're here to work with management, and we're here to work with internal auditing. And I wish everyone luck as we move forward. Anything else? If not, what time is it? It's 10:35. This audit committee board meeting is adjourned. It comes to an end. Thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.